Hello, welcome to Not So Daft Minecraft, where we have finished our triple spawner build. I've struggled with how to film this. I got some space limitations dictated by the tablet. I think I shot about 7 hours of footage. And even if I were to cohesively break it down, it's 4 good videos. I don't know if anybody wants to watch 4 videos about how to build a spawner. There's lots of great videos on YouTube that break down construction of spawners and the rules and the dynamics, and that's not what this is. I can talk you through what I did. I'll show you what I did. I'll take you on a tour. It's not normal to find 3 spawners right next door to each other, and it presents a kind of challenge. So let's go ahead and take a look at what we've got, and I'll talk about what I did. So let's do that. Okay, so one of the things that was constrictive about this build was the fact that they are arranged the way they are. And so I couldn't make what I wanted, a dream build of the enchanting space and the kill zone and the whole 9 yards laid out as I wanted it. That's our skeleton spawner over there with the post lift soul block trick where they fall off the water, and when they land on a post it makes them want to jump. When they jump and touch that bubble lift, up they go. Say take that sign there. If you went ahead at that sign and put a block in and then just ran blocks the rest of the way up, they just sit there with their head against that block. So that's why it's open the whole way up. Let the bubbles pull them up and we'll deal with them at the top. I'll show you what that looks like. We've got our enchanting table set up over here. A couple of furnaces. That was so I could supply myself with glass as we went. We got the spider spawner here. I opened this up because if the spider sees me, they'll come at me. This was the hardest part of this whole build, and I'll get to that, what's going on over there in a minute. Spiders come down here. They get kicked out by a couple of different moving water columns. They come to here so that the goodies they drop, spider eyes and thread, they come to me. And they can't get to me, and I can just sit here and beat on them. And then the zombie spawner, which late in the game I forgot needs a baby spawner, a baby zombie filter. And that's provided, it's kind of hard to see, by a row of fences that make up the bottom of the water chute that brings the zombies down to drop onto the fence post, hit the soul sand, and up they go. But the babies fall through the picket fence. See if I can see that from below. All right, here's what we're going to do. We're going to take a look at a freestanding build I did to kind of help explain these lifts a little bit better just about now. All right, so here we have a miniature version of the bubble tube lift system, which we're going to demonstrate. A couple of things to point out. I've slowed down the rate at which my dispenser system works, and I did that because if you run this thing real fast, adults will fall through that fence line there, which is the baby zombie filter. So I've got it set to run pretty slow. Spawners only put out 4 creatures or mobs at a time, so they don't, you don't really have to worry about cranking this thing up to simulate anything. I have added a water blade at the top as a test to see if it will help move the mobs through instead of allowing them to come to the top and bob back and forth. And we're going to go over how to get this water blade to form, because if you simply come up here and drop your water, it's going to just make a dead end. And I'll show you that in a second, but let's see this thing work. By the way, this is a basic setup here. minus that relay. You would just have the redstone running through in this arc, and this will, you have to have 2 blocks here represented by the lamps, and you can get it to dispense everything. So up they come, they hit that blade of water, it helps them move on. Haven't had a baby come out yet. It's a pretty sedate pace. In fact, in reality, it should run even slower than that. The faster it runs, the more likely you are to have the adults fall into this pit. And since in reality it would never run even this fast, this is a pretty good representation. Here comes a baby. He'll hop up and down. And are you kidding me? I'll be a son of a gun. So when that little baby zombie comes into your spawn room, that's going to be exciting. That shouldn't have happened, and I'm having trouble figuring out why, because I've built a whole bunch of these, and you know, I don't end up with babies in the room. Now, I will tell you one reason why. It just occurred to me. In my build, these zombies... Now, see how he had to hop? Because in my build... Yeah, see, because the water just moves him along. Here's the problem. In my build, the water comes towards us and drops them into this trench. So I have an idea I would like to test. I'll catch you in a second. Okay, now we have a shade. We'll replace the villagers with zombies and see if the behavior changes. Okay, this is much more representative of collection chamber in our spawn room. Here comes a baby. See, they don't hop up and down as much. Look at that. He's gonna go harass all the villager babies. So they don't hop up and down as much, so they're not gonna give each other as much grief. Those two got into each other's way. Another baby. Down he goes. That's funny. So now it might be possible to go back to a solid fence and keep the adults from coming up. So let's try that. Apparent temptation to fall, but what about a baby? Here comes a baby. Apparently the solid fence doesn't, Jeez. I am not getting this problem in my main build. There's a baby. So they have to jump up and down, it seems, in order to go through. So I have this idea. Because when they hit the fence posts, they're forced to jump up and down after being on top of a regular block, there's a chance that when the babies come down and land on the regular block and then jump, son of a gun, all right, well, let's talk about the water. And how we get that water to do that for us. So So first we'll turn off the water. You're going to want to leave one block on top of your soul sand, okay? And then you're going to place your water bucket one block above your channelway, so right there. So the water's going to run out this way and run down. Now the reason you got to turn off the soul sand is that if you merely drop the water as we just did, but didn't block the soul sand, the bubbles will arrive before the water wedge can form. So now the bubbles show up and the water wedge shows up. And then to make our kicker wedge, we put a sign there, there, sorry, like that, and there. Now then, we put the water on top, and that creates our wedge. That's the most effective way to get the water to flow. Now, why our fence post filter is not working, I think has something to do with this kind of false setup. Because I'm not getting any adults in my real world, and I'm not having any babies come through. So somewhere in there lies the mystery of the reality of this situation. Let's wait for one more baby so we can be disappointed again. Success. Here's a baby. Success. I think the lesson here is try some variables, have some fun. I can't seem to figure out exactly why one thing works and then doesn't work. The adults aren't going through, which is good. Here's a baby. There we go. I like that. Okay, that was 3 stacks. We got 4 babies. I don't know. Play around with it, I guess. Have some fun. Be prepared. Be prepared to be challenged in your XP room by a baby that makes it through. But that's it. So that is a course of water that starts at that first picket fence way back there. I have 2 picket fences on top of each other for the first start. That way the water can make it all the way to the end where I can control exactly where the babies come to. I've used these glass blocks instead of stone because the fence posts won't attach to the glass block. So instead of having this web of material here, and I don't know if it interferes with the baby zombies falling through, but I put the glass in so that we don't have them attaching on the side walls. I've done this where I've alternated between stone, wood, stone, wood, stone, wood, so that there's not any connection in the middle either. But sometimes the adult zombies end up down here in the trap, and with the single material, whether it's stone or wood, it doesn't seem to happen. Put a picket fence right there. I put the glass in so they don't get connected. This I've seen before if you have stone in these two positions or some other material that the post will attach to, it just forms a little wall. And the XP orbs just stay on the other side, but they'll wander through this cavity, so that's why I put that there. A couple of tricks, like there's so many glass blocks here, and the reason is that when I'm over here at the magic spot where everything lines up and all the spawners are working, well, sorry, where's our magic spot? There we are. So all the spawners are working, and I stand here and do all my work. I can look over here and see down through the floor and see if there's a baby zombie down there waiting to be collected. Redstone lamps for everything, so it gets nice and dark in here. So I buried some glowstone way down low, under glass, or way high up, so that it does not interfere with spawning, but allows me to see the environment. Train tracks running over to the mining shaft, and I've got to get started mining. Lava garbage disposal. I have these here because I am using a modified sine water chute system. Normally, I would have a series of elevated, like, little platforms back there on the diagonal, and the water would just flow to a central point over here, and they'd spawn, they'd drop, and they'd move down to the center chute. But it was difficult to make the zombie collection point using the baby's collection point using the fence posts, because it was a field. I made a field of fence posts, and they just kept falling through. Everybody kept falling through, and I realized you've got to go back to the old trench system. But right over here is the spider spawner, and I can't go 8 blocks that way, so that 8 blocks of water flow and perfectly stop right at this ledge. And I had encountered this problem with my spider build. Mostly I just didn't want to build a big spider spawner, so I said, screw it, we'll do the sign cheat system. And so I decided, you know what, over here, we're going to do the sign cheat system. Here's a closer look at the post drop system. So that's a row of fence posts, and then you'll notice this one's a little bit lower. They flow over, drop, hit that, and jump up into the water column, and it goes up with this secondary sign system all the way to the very top. We'll take a look at that from above. Classic overhead lighting system, and then ladder ways in case I have to come in here for any reason. I'll show you what the upstairs looks like. Here's a look in the spider section. We'll view that from above. It's a smaller room, and that's because a couple of years ago, when I was desperate in doing spider spawners, I came to the conclusion that I could usually get 4 spiders at once, just about every time, in a smaller space. I always build access up to my lighting. I went with tall ceilings for this build because I need to be able to look into various height of rooms. When I built this, I cleared out a lot of space and ran a lot. There's like this is where the lighting comes from, and I was using it as my access space, but all of this up here was just a mess of open topped area, and I filled it in. You can see all the cobblestones all fill in, so that this is a nice clean set of hallways. It's easy to run around up here and not get lost because I made it tidy. So classic fill in here. Double fence posts, or sorry, double signage stacked one on top of the other. Once you set them on a physical object, you can stack them on top of each other. Okay, and that runs down here again to a drop-off where we land on these fence posts. Now, I don't have to jump around, so I will not jump around, but the creatures have to jump around, and that causes them to hit the water and go up to the top. We will be taking a look at what's up there in a minute. I don't have a way down, so I don't want to tempt fate and hurt myself. We'll fight our way back out here. I use these signs along here to make this curtain of water that floats overhead for the same reason. Spiders, when they fall off of the water, if that's just stone there, they'll cling to the sides and fart around. This kind of keeps them moving towards our water here. I've done this in the past, and I might, if the spiders keep giving me trouble, where we excavate back 8 blocks, which will take us, I think, beyond where my finger is, and run a separate line of water to here and here, and this way they really are forced to keep moving. But I don't care too much about the spider spawner. It's a bonus. In fact, what's up there, I don't care about too much either. I'm probably going to replace all of that goes up there with a simple chute that takes it out to the room, and I'll punch him 3 times and kill him. Because I'm kind of getting a little bugged by the dynamics of my spider system, and I'll tell you why when we get a little deeper into that. This is our zombie room, seen from that perspective. You can see the water's a little taller over there because I start 1 fence post up in order to make the water carry as far as I want it to, so that I end up with a perfect end of water down here by the fence post. Now, the reality is I don't need that. If I saw zombies hanging out here, hopping on, hopping off, hopping on, I'd probably get rid of that and just deal with the water ending a little thicker. I just like that water coming to that last 8th block finish point. This block is the switch. Everything flows from here, so there's some repeaters used. This is going to the back of the spider spawner. I use water to move the spiders to that trough. They come from up there, where I built a large 12 by 12 room that goes all the way down to where we're standing, so that they'll fall and get 22 blocks of damage. Now, if I make it 1 block more fall to 23, it's a lot of dead spiders. Spiders are really hard to get to take damage correctly. The reason there's so many signs, I did the same trick. I'm using them to make certain that water curtain carries them out well away from the stonework, so they fall. They still manage to hang out in these corners, and as I said in an earlier video, I don't like making spider spawners. I'll just make a spider kill chamber, because water lifts and all that, they're such a pain in the butt. It's easy to get them up there, but it's hard to make them move. And I guarantee you, if we were to visit that during operation, we'd see them hanging around up on the other side of that water curtain, just hanging out up there. It gets annoying. So what I do is I let them fall down here, and I watched it work for a while. They all land just about here that way. So I figured this is a safe zone here. I can bring the water over and have it end just here to push them to that trough and carry them out to the kill chamber. But they'd get here, and then they'd kind of bounce, and they'd stick over here. And I don't have enough space to make that an area where water could flow and create a lip that they couldn't attach themselves to. So I added 1 more row of stones. This was originally 3. So the water doesn't flow just to that edge, but overflows it, carries the spiders with them, and washes them down. It still doesn't work as I'd like it to. I went with every other relay because if you try and just stack these guys up and use redstone, it doesn't work. You have to split them up. skeleton spawner, a little more straightforward. I've got the lift corners like I described in the earlier video. Drags them down to the one spot. If you were trying to make this into a zombie baby filter, since the zombie babies can come from several different locations, you'd have to have a lot of fence posts. It just doesn't work. The adults fall through. It's a pain. This is the most straightforward version of every single spawner built I've ever built. 11 by 11, corner lift system, fence post kicker, boom. Really high ceilings you can see, but the spider spawner is kind of elevated. The zombie spawner is in a pretty decent location. The skeleton spawner is elevated. I would not normally build a ladder to get up to my water lifts. Because once they work, and I don't need to come back. But I wanted to have the opportunity to show off what we did. And now I'm confused. Can't remember where it's supposed to go to. All right. So the water comes up and I bring them up one level higher than they have to be with the bubbles. When you first put down that bucket of water, it forms a dull blade. It won't flow. The trick is, in front of that sign, the trick is to just go ahead and throw another bucket of water right behind it, and boom, it'll take off. I'll show you that in the walkthrough video. Boy, it sounds like one of them stuck up here somewhere. The other spawner's lift is quite similar. They both run to within one block of each other. Little peekaboo so you can look through. So they come out over there, and that was a struggle all by itself. Trying to figure out how to kind of get them to come up and push through. Let's see if we can make our way over there. Okay, so you can see the bubbles, take them up. And I would remove this water to show you, but I had a hard time getting all this to work. And the dynamics of water in Minecraft are weird, so I'm just happy it worked. Before I put this very high bulge of water in, they were coming up at the top and just clustering by the hundreds inside that area above the boards. So this forces them, the water starts above that second sign right there. So when they come out of those bubbles, they're pushed into this moving water and spat out here to these series of overhangs that they have a hard time gathering themselves on. I built that ledge. Oh, I thought I was in crouch. Ooh, we almost took a fall. I built that ledge up there because the spiders can't come up the wall and then go over the ledge and then keep going. They stop right there. So it forces them back into the water time and time again. So they eventually fall. And it seems to work because I've been running this thing and there are no loose spiders hanging out up here at the moment. And that's a good sign. I took advantage of the fact that there's a cave here. And we're kind of in it. Some of this is part of it. It kept me from having to dig a completely complicated, massive dig out. Okay, let's see this bad boy work. They come down. Now this is the one flaw. See, sometimes you need one of them to push the other one on. Okay, what I'm about to show you is completely wrong, but I'm going to let you see it anyway. We're going to work through this as I work through it, because later we build a zombie baby lift to take advantage of the zombie babies, and we discover by accident that we haven't been running the water correctly up to the post and the soul sand. The post needs to be 1 block below the soul sand's position. You take a source block, it runs down, you drop down 1 block. There's that gap block. After the gap, you go to the post, which is itself 1 block below the soul sand. What this causes to happen is when you have a mob drop in, they will hit that water on top of that post, and they will jump, and that will throw them into the bubbles, and boom, up they'll go. It works beautifully. I don't know how I forgot. I'm going to fine-tune this jumping mechanism. See, that guy came and took an extra hit. Now let's see if any spiders can be flushed out. Here comes a spider. All right, I'm going to pause there and I'm going to do some enchanting, and then we're going to see what it takes to get back from 27 to 30. All right, so we just hit 30, and I've shut the mechanism off. And if you'll notice in the background, we've made a change to the spider spawner. It's a straight shot now. No more lift mechanism, none of that. It's got its benefits too, because the spiders are really interested in getting down to the end because they can see me, but that post keeps them from being able to get through. So what we're going to do is spend that XP, drop ourselves back down to 27. We even have a garbage chute right in front of us so we don't have to wander too far from the sweet spot. Drop ourselves back down to 27 and see how long it takes to get back up. Now I will turn the mechanism on when I get ready to craft or enchant. And the reason is that if you're sitting here grinding out XP and you hit 30, you're not going to turn it off, go enchant, come back, turn it on. You're going to let it build up so you get that XP back as soon as you come back to start gathering. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to turn the mechanism on, do whatever enchanting I need to get done, and start grinding out XP again, taking advantage of what's built up while I'm waiting. I just am not obviously building it up right now. You can tell from the sound behind me. We have an infant down in daycare. So everything is working as planned. Let's go ahead. I'll fire this thing back up, do some enchanting, and then we'll see what the timeline is from 27 to 30. So let's start the clock. you are never not busy with this set of spawners. I mean, you got spiders building up behind you, you turn around, zombies and skeletons, man. We got to find a way to get those baby zombies up here. I have another plan to bring this baby slaughter position a little closer to over here. Is that 2 minutes? I only have the minutes, I don't have the seconds. But I think that was about 2 minutes. Or maybe 2.5. I'll know when we get to post. That's pretty fast. I think that's much faster than a blaze spawner and a heck of a lot easier. Yeah, I think that's about 2.5 minutes. That's impressive. Now what I don't have, unfortunately, is things to enchant. So I have this idea. Baby zombies can be lifted now. And since they can be lifted, it means I can move them somewhere and drop them. But my question is, if I were to put half a slab here, right here, would it keep a baby zombie trapped? Now the post lift mechanism trick won't work with them, I don't think, because they will fall down where the post goes. But I want to test it in my tester. Because if I can make them lift, drop, and be killable, that'll be super awesome. I could possibly bring them down where this shaft is and eliminate this lava. Yeah, I could do that, possibly. I'd have to perform a trick where I take them up higher than the other drop chutes, drop them, have them hit a blade of water to protect them, and then have them take their damage from that point on, because there's too much tunnel way up there happening right now. I can't have them interfering with the other tunnels. Let's have a look at that in our tester world. See you there. Alright, so I filmed the creation of this, and that was completely unnecessary. Turns out to be pretty complicated. Simple, but complicated. So we extended the lit roof to cover this part of the facility, and you can see it looks a bit like a standard lift. Sign trees all the way to the top, bubble column. We're going to use this spawner zombie mechanism to give us the babies through the baby filter, because it's a very, very, very major chore to manually spawn zombie babies. So I was only able to get one baby at a time. And you'd like to send a lot of babies up and test this theory. So we're going to go through a couple of things we discovered, and then we're going to let the filter run and feed us babies. So let's check it out. I feel very excited because if this works in the survival world that we have, it's almost like getting a fourth spawner, because we'll be able to automatically move zombie babies to a kill chamber, which is something that didn't exist until the bubble lifts. So let's take a look. First things first, I think the babies, I can't tell, but I feel like they need to fall further. We haven't done a count here. I don't know exactly how many blocks up that is. I've got them landing on a slab. That way they can't get out. So they're trapped here where you can take care of them and deal with them. This is just a water collection point. It looks a bit complicated. This is absolutely not how it's going to be handled in a survival world. This is just what I had to do to make the zombie filter work on my behalf. So now I've got them coming in, dropping into the space here, hitting the water, flowing, moving, and channeling into here. We want them to be guided to here and to go up. Now here's the thing, you notice that? It's automatic. Now I either forgot how to do this or I haven't been doing it correctly. But by removing that block behind the water drop, I've created a circumstance under which when you fall onto the post, you jump. Now I've had the post dry up until now, where you just land on the post and it's dry and they hop. And I can't actually remember now if I've got this wrong all this time, but yes, water flowing across the top of the post forces them to hop straight into, even the player hops straight into the column. One other significant change. So just like any other build, the signs go all the way up. But see that post? If we put a sign there instead of a post, those little baby zombies, they won't cruise over the signs like the adults do. They fall. So they get all the way up to here and they get pushed and then straight down to their death. We can't have that, so we switched to a post and it works. We did the same thing over here. That's the last bit of the water blade to push them over. What they were doing there before I did that was just hopping. Very annoying. I tried the sign trick, but it's like I forgot, of course, sign trick won't work. They just would be sitting where that post is. They just stood there and hung out. So now they come through and they drop. So let's get a count on how far they drop. 22. It's 23, but less the half slab. It's 22 and a half blocks. Seems like it's more than that, but that's what I've got. So they drop down here and they can't get out, which is fantastic. You tap them once and they're dead. So let's start the fulfillment mechanism up. See if we can get ourselves some babies. Here comes a baby into here. I am going to hold on to these babies in that dead spot. All right, so we have a nice passel for testing. We're gonna shut off the water flow here. Get that guy going, and then we'll break this block. And up they go. All right, that's pretty consistent. I like that. Let's go to survival mode. Now they hate us. Let's see. Ah, yes. Just like that. That works. All right, so we're gonna bring these babies down behind me somewhere. I figure we'll probably create a companion channel over here somewhere to lift them up and move them. Probably gonna need, I wanna drop them 22, actually 23 by the time we put the slab down, but 23 blocks, 22 and a half now. But I wanna drop them 23, so I'm not gonna go up 23, I'm probably gonna go up 25 so I can get 2 long runs of water to get them to their drop position. We're gonna try and do the drop in concert with the other tunnelways up there, but if not, I can't have those guys mixing, so I may have to take them up several more blocks to clear the existing waterways, drop them down their chute, and at the 24th block, put in a block of water. They hit that, and then they fall their 23. That's gonna be a workaround. And that'll clean up this mess over here with this hole in the floor and all of that. But we're not doing that in this video. This thing's already pushing into an hour long. I'm tempted to split it into 3 parts, but I don't think I'm gonna. I hope you watched all the way through. I guess at this point, if you did, you did. Thank you. All right, thank you for watching Not So Daft Minecraft, the most awesome triple spawner, soon to be, technically a quad spawner, but not really, video ever. I have been Gosub, you've been great.